Okay, welcome back to the class. Let's start with probably the most famous motivation theory of all time, Maslow. Maslow hierarchy of needs. This is so classic. So even this theory is well known, and many scholars argue that Maslow is not working in a real world. That's why we will look more motivation theories. Anyway, so now I'm sure many of you have seen this pyramid before. Actually, it's normally this shape, 5 steps. But I want to go deeper than the typical surface level understanding because there are some really important nuances here that are particularly relevant for entrepreneurs. So Maslow developed this theory in quite old, 1943, almost 8 years ago. And the basic idea is that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy, like a pyramid, this shape. So you need to satisfy the lower level needs before you can focus on higher level needs. Okay, let's go through each level from bottom to top. The first level, bottom level, is physiological needs. So food, water, sleep, shelter, breathing, these are non-negotiable. If you are starving, you are not going to be thinking about self-actualization and creativity. So you are thinking about where your next meal is coming from if you are starving. So in a startup context, this translates to basic living stability. So can your team member afford to eat? Do they have a place to live? Are they getting enough sleep or are they burning out? I've seen startups fail because founders pushed their teams too hard without ensuring these basic needs were met. So people were working 18 hours days, not sleeping, eating ramen every meal in Korea to save money. And you know what happened? They burn out. Their health suffered and eventually they could not continue. Is it right? So level 2 is safety needs. So once the physiological needs are met, people start thinking about safety, physical safety, job security, financial security, health security, and resource security itself. So for startup teams, this is huge. Think about it. When you join a startup, especially on early stage one, so you are taking a risk. The company might fail. You might not have a job in 6 months. This uncertainty can be incredibly stressful and demotivating. This is why some startups struggle to recruit top talent even when they have a great idea. People are worried about safety needs. They think, sure, the startup sounds exciting, but I have a mortgage to pay. I have a family to support. Can I really take this risk? So, as an entrepreneur, you need to address these safety concerns as much as possible. So, maybe you cannot offer complete job security, but you can be transparent about the company's financial situation. You can have an emergency fund. So you can offer health insurance even when the company is small. So in a acquisition, in talent acquisition stage, safety needs is very critical, as I said. Okay. And third, love and belonging. So this level is about relationships, friendship, family, belongings to a group, like that. So in startup teams, this translates to team culture and social connection. Do people feel like they are part of something? Do they have good relationships with their coworkers? Do they feel accepted and valued by the team? This is actually one area where startups can have an advantage over large corporations. So in a startup team, it's easier to build close relationships, to create a strong sense of belonging. Everyone knows everyone because first day startup is quite small. You are all in it together. So that sense of can be incredibly motivating. I've seen startup teams that stayed together through the incredibly difficult times, not being able to pay full salaries. So working out of someone's apartment, eating instant noodles for lunch because they had such strong bonds with each other. They felt like they belonged to something special. Also, in my personal experience, I also worked in a small startup company, early stage. So I had a similar experience. So we know each other. So we eat a lunch, dinner every day, every time. So we talk too much. We share a lot of things like a family. So I motivate. Even my salary is lower than my previous working place, but I satisfy to work there because of my team members. Anyway, so next level is team needs. This level is about achievement, recognition, respect, and status. People want to feel competent, to be recognized for their accomplishments, to have self-respect and the respect of others. So for startup teams, this is critical. In early stage startups, you often cannot pay high salary. Of course, we do not have enough resources, but you can provide recognition. So you can celebrate achievements, you can give people meaningful titles and responsibilities that make them feel important and respected. One thing I've noticed is that in many startups, people have much more impressive titles and responsibility than they would have at the same career stage in a large company. So, for example, a 25-year-old might be the head of marketing or lead engineer at the startup, but in a large company, they'd be a junior associate at a big company. But that's not just about ego. It's about fulfilling esteem needs. Is a good example for it. And number five, last one, top of the motivation in Maslow, self-actualization needs. This is the top of pyramid, realizing your full potential, creativity, morality, spontaneity, living authentically. So Maslow described self-actualization as becoming everything one is capable of becoming. It's about personal growth, creativity, autonomy, pursuing your passion. So for entrepreneurs themselves, this is often a pyramid motivator. So many entrepreneurs start companies not primarily for money, but because they have a vision they need to realize, a creative idea they need to bring to life. They need autonomy and freedom to express their full potential. And for team members in startups, especially early employees, this can also be a strong motivator. They have the opportunity to shape the company, to see their ideas implemented, to grow much faster than they would in a structured corporate environment. Now, here's what's really important to understand about Maslow's theory for startup application. So, in early stage startups, you are typically focusing on the bottom two level first. These two levels. You need to ensure basic living stability for your team, of course. So ensure what? Basic living stability for your teams. So that's physiological needs. Then you need to create team belongings and have them feel like they are part of something stable enough. That's safety and belongings. As the company grows and becomes more stable, you can increasingly focus on achievement, vision realization, and self actualization. But here's the nuance, it's not always a strict hierarchy. Different people prioritize different needs. Some people might be willing to sacrifice some safety needs because they are so motivated by self actualization needs. That's often the case with early startup employees. They accept the risk and uncertainty because they value the autonomy and creative opportunity. So you need to use customized motivation strategies through the individual needs assessment. So don't assume everyone has the same hierarchy of needs. You must keep in mind everyone don't have the same what? It's quite smart, right? I hope you to understand hierarchy of what needs. Everyone has different hierarchy of needs. So talk to your team members. Understand what's the important to them. Some might finance security right now because they just had a baby, or other might prioritize learning and growth because they are young and willing to take risk. This individual approaches to understanding needs is absolutely critical for effective motivation in startup.
This is all this about Maslow, actually. Now we are going to look for the Oedipus theory. Oedipus developed this theory in 1969 as a modification of Maslow's hierarchy. He thought Maslow's five-level were too rigid and didn't reflect how motivation actually worked in practice. So he argued that Maslow don't reflect how motivation actually works. practice. So Alpha condensed the 5 levels into the 3 categories. That's what ERZ stands for. Existence, relativeness, growth. ERG. So let me show you how these map to Maslow's hierarchy. Existence means these correspond to Maslow's psychological physiological and safety needs. That's the fourth and fifth one. This is about material and physiological needs, food, water, shelter, physical safety, same as the Maslow. And second are relatedness. What this corresponded to Maslow's love belongings needs and some of the interpersonal aspects of needs. This is about interpersonal relationships and social connection. And social connection. And gross needs, these correspond to Maslow needs and self-actualization needs. This is about the personal development, realizing your potential, creativity, and making meaningful contribution. So, what's the key difference from Maslow? These are 3 important differences. Difference 1, multiple needs can be pursued simultaneously. This is the first difference, which means that Maslow said you need to satisfy lower needs before motivating higher needs, which means that, for example, when you achieve this button, you can go up, but you must achieve this level of needs in Maslow. But Alpha said, no, you can be motivated by multiple levels at the same time. So you can achieve the needs same time. So for example, as an entrepreneur, you might simultaneously be worried about existence needs, working on related needs, and asynchronous news also. This is much more realistic, isn't it? Maybe not. Someone disagree that, but it's about normally this is more realistic and logical. A second difference is the frustration regression principle. This is really interesting. Adolfo said that when people are frustrated in satisfying higher level needs, they might regress and focus more on lower level needs. Let me give you a certain example. Imagine someone joins your startup because they are excited about the growth opportunity, so they want to learn, develop new skills, make a meaningful impact. But then they find out the company is not giving the opportunities to grow. They are stuck doing repetitive tasks. It's boring. Their ideas are ignored. They are not learning anything new. Their growths are frustrated. So, according to Adolfo, they might then regress and become more focused on relatedness needs or even existence needs. They might start demanding higher salary, or they might focus on office politics and social relationships rather than meaningful work. So, people want to grow, but in a real, the company don't give a growth anymore. So these people focus on relatedness and existence instead of grossness, because these people don't feel I can't grow anymore. So these people just want a much higher salary like that. You understand? So I've seen this happen many times in startup and in real business era. Someone joins for the mission and the growth opportunity, negotiating for money or complaining about benefits. It's not that they are greedy, it's that they're higher needs and frustrated, so they have regressed to focusing on lower needs. As an entrepreneur, understanding this principle is crucial. If you notice team members suddenly becoming more focused on compensation or job security when they were previously motivated by the mission, don't just dismiss them as mercenary. So ask yourself, have we been frustrated their growth needs? Have we not been giving them opportunities